Thank you so much, Ali, and hello, everybody. And I'm so glad to be here with you on Earth Day. What can we do about the climate crisis? Well, there are absolutely things we can do. I ask everyone at every level, individuals, families, organizations, communities, countries. We've got to reduce our carbon footprint. We know if we want a stable climate by about 7.5% a year, we have to get ready to adapt. And we have to do this very un-Canadian thing of speaking up. Climate can't be left entirely up to government, but they do absolutely have to hear from us. In terms of how you reduce your carbon footprint, it's, well, individual action matters. This is for the average Ontarian. Half of the carbon footprint of the average Ontarian comes from just four things. Driving, and we drive the most inefficient vehicles in the entire world, the most climate polluting vehicles. Home heating, and we generally have leaky homes where a lot of the heat that we're paying for, roughly $30 billion a year, goes to energy costs in homes, and a lot of that just is leaked into the outside. Flying and eating beef, half of the impact comes from that. So if you want to reduce your individual footprint, that's something you can do, is just look particularly at those four things. It's a good place to start, but it's a terrible place to stop. Because what matters much more than individual action is what we do together. Collective problems need collective action, and the climate crisis is, of all things, a collective problem. And that's what governments were invented for, is to address collective problems. We know there are only three big tools that work for reducing climate pollution on an economy-wide scale: making polluters pay, having a price on carbon, cap and trade system Ontario used to have, a federal carbon tax. We need to make polluters pay so they have a financial incentive to pollute less. We need to take the money and invest it in solutions, because we have all kinds of solutions that we could bring. Right now, we have technology and people and tools, but we're not investing them to make them happen. And we have to regulate polluters. But most governments don't act unless constituents speak up. I spent a lot of time as commissioner with politicians, and what I heard from politicians at every level, municipal, provincial, federal, was that the most powerful thing they can say when they are sitting with their colleagues is, "My constituents say." And they are very strongly influenced by what they hear from their constituents. And most of the time, they don't hear from their constituents about climate change. They don't hear from their constituents about the environment. Most of the time, what they hear from their constituents is some version of, "What's in it for me now?" And when that's what they hear from their constituents, that's what they work on. So if we want to have good public policy, and we really need good public policy on the environmental and climate crises, we have to speak up. You have to speak up. All of us have to speak up. And that's a little daunting for a lot of people. There's 11 words I want you to memorize, and please, if you see them on your screen, read them back to me right now. Simple, clear messages, repeated often by a variety of trusted voices. Simple, clear messages, repeated often by a variety of trusted voices. And as you've already heard, a lot of you already are trusted voices. Use that trusted voice with the people that you know and care about and with whom you have a connection, and encourage other people to do the same with the folks that they listen to and trust. And for example, some professions have really high levels of trust. According to the international surveys I've seen, the single most trusted profession in the entire world are nurses. So if you're a nurse, or you have someone in your family or friends who's a nurse, they've got a really powerful voice. You can help them and encourage them to speak up. Three big areas to speak up about. Price and climate pollution. I already indicated this is one of the key tools for any government. Basic economics 101. Nobel Prize for economics went to the man who proved the cheapest, most effective tool is to price climate pollution. We need to do it. We know we have to do it. We have to do it at a much higher level than we're doing now. So speak up for that. The second thing is to stop sprawl. Urban sprawl is the largest driver of climate pollution in Ontario. It is the reason that transportation, people driving around, is the biggest source of our climate pollution. It's swallowing up farmland and woodland and wetland that we're going to need really badly for our resilience moving forward. Most important thing we can do to stop sprawl, and certainly right now in Ontario, we've got a government that's turbocharging sprawl. It's a big issue to speak up about. And the third one, which should be close to our hearts, is protecting nature. Nature can give us so much that we need and are going to need more and more. And we can take a lot of lessons from the pandemic. We can see in the pandemic, anyone with a compromised immune system is more vulnerable, more likely to die. Anyone living in an area with air pollution is more likely to die. It's the same with ecosystems. Vulnerable ecosystems are more likely to collapse. And these are the natural systems on which our lives depend. Even when we're locked down, it's incredibly important to find ways to speak up, just as we're meeting here tonight, even though we can't be in the streets where we'd like to be. I can promise you the oil lobby has not stopped. Environmental Defense has documented that the oil lobby speaks to the government, lobbying for reduced environmental protection and more subsidies roughly 4 times a day, year after year after year. So they haven't stopped. If you want to see the list of the most egregious things they're asking for, it's been published in this last week. But you can learn how to speak effectively. So Climate Fast is doing this great series of kitchen table climate conversation lessons. You get a chance to practice, get over your feeling of discomfort, talk with other people, find ways to feel comfortable to speak up in whatever organizations you're in. It doesn't have to be just environmental groups. Whatever group you're in, your mother's bowling league, your father's book club, whatever it is, these are the folks to talk to. Because we all need some hope. And the only recipe for hope that I know is this one. We have to start by looking at the facts, even though they're really difficult. And then we have to find other people to take action with. With knowledge and collective action, we can have hope. So no one can do everything, but everyone can do something, and every single one of you can speak to your political representative, and that will make a difference. Thank you.